on.
We welcome you to Sports Shack, episode 10. Thank you guys for joining us. If you see this video, please like and subscribe to follow up on everything Sports Shack. If you want to see everything else Sports Shack, go to _Sports Shack on Instagram for more clips and everything on Sports Shack. Let's say thank you everybody for joining. My name is Brandon Talley, along with Dennis Tui, a very good buddy of mine, best buddy of mine. Dennis, how you doing today? I know.
Thank you, a best buddy of yours. I appreciate that. I'm doing well. First week of grad school done, completed. Had to do my homework over the weekend. Reading a lot about Napoleon. If you have any questions, let me know. But it has to be about his campaign to Egypt. That's it. All I know. Watching the NHL game, the Grizzlies just beat the Rockets, so now I'm going back to the land of ice. What a chainsaw in a bathtub game this is. 5-1 with 6.5 minutes to go in the second period. Kraken over Sharks on what channel is this? ESPN. What a game. Kraken, dude. Bringing the heat. I don't know if you heard about the Canucks. They're trying to offload some of their top talent, like Quinn Hughes. Hopefully he joins his brothers on the Devils.
You know what? Maybe I'll see if we can get one of our best buddies on for some hockey talk.
That'd be nice. You know how I am with hockey.
Well, let me see.
Borderline like illiterate with hockey. I'm a Devils fan.
Let me see if I can cook up something. Oh, you know, it's
But we have other stuff to talk about, obviously.
Right.
I'm saying it just because it's right in front of me. Not the Canucks thing, just hockey in general. My Devils put a beating on the Flyers, both literally and figuratively yesterday, beating them 5-0 or like 5-1 or something like that. It was a blowout. And your Islanders did better, not better, but you guys didn't do much worse, I should say. 3-0 against the Flyers tonight, not bad at all. You guys have been a little. I'm not going to jinx you. I won't put that devil on you, Ricky Bobby, but you guys are starting to, rev up a little. Heat up a little bit. Earlier in the season, I'd say you guys were cold to start the year off, right? I think that's fair to say over the first quarter of the season. Since then, you guys, I'd say you're at nice room temperature. Not the most dominant team in the league, not scorching hot, but you guys are at room temperature, a little warmer, heating up a little.
Okay.
You're looking at me like I'm nuts. I have nuts.
No, you're good. I'm sorry. I'm trying to cook. I'm trying to cook.
What are we cooking? We talking ramen noodles or what?
I wish. I'm gonna get ramen next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Speaking of Asian cuisine, have you ever gone to that all-American wonton place on Broadway? I have a coupon. Expires tomorrow. I was thinking of going for lunch because I have it, but then I was like, I got so much stuff in my fridges at home that it's fiscally irresponsible.
Right.
But I don't know if you've gone there or if you have any good things to say about it. I want to check it out.
There's a good place.
It's right next to the comic book store I like to go to too. Because the one I used to go to is no good anymore. They switched ownership and it's no good. Broadway. Not the weird Broadway north of us, the Broadway by me. That Broadway, but down by the chess store.
Right.
And then the laundromat.
I like definitely Broadway's good. I went to
Let's talk about the wonton place over there.
There's a good coffee place by the train station. I know today I went to a coffee shop on Main Street.
Press, right?
Was that?
Perk Press is the one you're thinking about?
Perk Press, something like that. Yeah, it's a good coffee place. Like, I definitely would go there to read or like go on my computer if I had the opportunity. I definitely want to take advantage of that, honestly. The coffee place I went to today, I got an iced coffee with just some regular mocha iced coffee with almond milk. Delicious. I definitely think it had an effect on me today. I'm pretty hyper.
You're saying that. Yeah, both of us are amped right now.
I feel pretty amped. I know it is late, but I mean, I know we get a good hour in, and I know, we still have a good show. So we'll talk more hockey later because I'm trying to get one of my inside sources, and hopefully he joins in soon.
Wow, the first guest on Sport Check.
Yes, I'll keep it a surprise because I want to just get your reaction when it comes to hockey. They are big with hockey. They are a Rangers fan. That's all I'm gonna say.
All
That's all I'm
right, so
gonna say.
I think I know who you're talking about, but are they in the football league, the fantasy football league?
They are not.
Oh, so it's a different Ranger fan. All right, then I do know who you're
Ranger
talking
fan. Good
about.
guess though. I know.
I
I feel
wasn't
like I
thinking of
know.
him. I was thinking of the one who's in the football league and the baseball league. I don't like using people's names listed. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
But I thought it was the one who got the trophy for the football league.
Oh, Karam?
Yeah.
That would have been a good guess. No, that's a good guess. No, but
All
you'll
right.
see. But either way, we got a lot to talk about within Sports Shock. Championship weekend came and went in football. A lot to unpack. Man, so I guess we'll talk about the first game. The Eagles versus the Commanders. Man, was I wrong? I thought the Commanders were gonna come and show out. They were showing up a lot in the first half, but after
Like a
that,
hot knife through butter.
Saquon Barkley said otherwise. And then the Eagles just kept rolling on throughout the rest of the game. Um, Definitely a dominant showing by the Philadelphia Eagles. I know Lincoln Finance. No, not Lincoln. Yeah, Lincoln Financial. Yeah, I'm thinking of Citizens Bank Park with the Phillies. Lincoln Financial was electric as can be. Granted, when your team's in the championship game, I'd be the same way. If it was the Jets, I'd be the absolutely same way as well. Um, so just what a just an insane game. Saquon, it's just amazing. Good to see that the Eagles in the Super Bowl. I think it's crazy. I don't know if you saw it. The Eagles fans are a little nuts. They're insane. They're they're known for being uh, notoriously insane, and just reasons why people don't like them. They're also known for being notoriously crazy when it comes to partying. I don't know if you saw it, but there was an 18-year-old that fell off a light post, and he actually did pass away. So, to all the people in Philly, and just anybody that's celebrating a championship, think, please, like, come on, be smart. Granted, he was a young 18-year-old, 18-year-old guy, but still, come on, think before you act or speak. I don't get the point of climbing these light posts. It's just crazy to me. So these celebrations are they definitely go way out of hand when it comes to these celebrations. But so hopefully, I can't imagine what's going to be like if they win the Super Bowl. So I hope that they, you know, can behave themselves now. You know, now, but either way, still, if they do win the Super Bowl, congrats to to the Eagles as well. That'll be the second Super Bowl in franchise history. But obviously, this is their what am I gonna say? This is their third Super Bowl in the span of 8 years. That's pretty good for them. The Eagles have had some rough patches over the years. 2020, that's the last year Carson Wentz, and then that's the year Jalen Hurts came in the fold, and obviously it took a while for them to get adjusted to Nick Sirianni's offense and that team. Credit to Howie Roseman missing on Justin Jefferson, but hitting on the AJ Brown trade, and then obviously hitting it on the Saquon Barkley free agent move. The Giants didn't re-sign him, so the Eagles took advantage of that opportunity and made Saquon Barkley Philadelphia Eagle. And, he had opportunity for the rushing record, but the Eagles were like, hey, we're gonna keep you rested for the playoffs because we want you just in case something happens. Not gonna get let down. Like people don't let down Aaron Rodgers and that injury. But obviously that's a different story. I don't think people would let down the Eagles if something happened to Saquon Barkley before the playoffs. Granted, you can get injured anywhere. I know Harry Douglas was saying that on the show today. Granted, I got hurt. I fractured my foot slipping sidewalk. But in terms of this game, I know Saquon had a great game, 3 touchdowns, and just remarkable. He just having a great postseason in general. And Jalen Hurts still playing good. Nick Sirianni's definitely coached his team well. They're just loaded with talent. I don't know if you've seen Dennis, but 8 new starters compared to the Super Bowl run 3 years ago, like 2 years ago, from 20 to 22 to 23 season. There are now 8 new starters now on the defense. So, and they still managed to make it to the Super Bowl. So credit to the Eagles. I thought the Commanders were going to play a better game, but the turnovers got to them, and they just were outmatched. I thought the game was tight, but hey, like I said, credit to the Commanders because they had a great heck of a year. 1 game away from the Super Bowl. No one could top that off, especially from what they've been through. Dan Schneider, and then new ownership. new coaching, first year under Dan Quinn. So, good for the Commanders. And I'm excited to see what comes next year. Jalen Daniels definitely is going to be something in the league, and I'm excited to see what comes out of him. Congrats, Terry McLaurin. He finally has a quarterback. And I'm definitely excited to see what the Commanders are going to do now to reload and regroup for next season, because I would not sleep on them for next year. Like I wouldn't be shocked if I put them down for NFC East champion next year. I'm not going to give them that crown yet, but I'm going to be in contention. And if they made it to the championship with the roster they had this year, imagine what they're going to do next year. How they're going to regroup and reload. So I'm interested to see how that's going to go.
I was very impressed by them this season. I was very impressed. I thought that they could maybe make a run at the playoffs, but this was no. This I obviously didn't see coming at all. They should be proud of their guys in the locker room. They played terrific all season long, and you know what to me really stood out was even when Jaden Daniels missed a game or two, they were able to kind of rally the troops, and they never fell out of playoff contention since the beginning of the season, really. And all right, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but they made it to the conference championship. Rookie quarterback. I know other rookie quarterbacks have gotten this far before, and I think some people are anointing Jaden Daniels. I'm sorry, I keep doing that, as a star in the league, maybe a little too prematurely. Let's see how it pans out. But clearly things are moving in the right direction, because it's not just him, as you mentioned, Terry McLaurin. I like Brian Robinson Jr. They also have Austin Eckler, so they have some nice running backs, right? They have Eckler?
Right. Yeah, Austin Eckler, he had a down year last year with the Chargers, and obviously he got,
they were to get him at a discount.
Yeah, they got him, and he was a pretty decent back. He played a good team player role. He could easily, because with the Chargers, Austin Eckler was like a big every down back, and then last year was different. It wasn't the same, and
he's had health issues.
Like you said, the Commanders got him for the good price, and I think he was a good service back for them this year. That's great, great running back committee for them.
Veteran tight end and Zach Ertz was phenomenal in the postseason. He was absolutely incredible.
He was great for them this year. It's crazy how he's
no shame in saying he was the best tight end in the playoffs. Who's going to tell me otherwise? And maybe Goddard, but
I'm going to say maybe Dallas Goddard. Yeah.
Regardless, they have a really good team. I don't know if Zach Ertz, that is, will be coming back, because he is getting up there in age, as well as linebacker Bobby Wagner, awesome offseason addition. They have a really good team. They have a really good team top to bottom. Dan Quinn did a terrific job coaching them. Nothing to be ashamed of. I think if you want to criticize the coaching in one thing, is take the points. Take the points. All right? Take the points. Like if you're going to be, the second we get past the 50-yard line, we're just going to keep going for it on fourth down every time. Take the points. Take the 3 points now, because that's time you could use later. And I get it that on the other hand, you're going to say, I want my opponent to have the least amount of time as possible, but you're just kind of flirting with disaster to a point. And eventually they did get 3 points and that time of possession, but it didn't really matter because Saquon scored on the first play the Eagles had. By the way, set up by great special teams play. That's not going to get talked about.
Sure.
Regardless, they started the game off really well, and by the end of it, the depth and the experience of the Eagles was just too much.
I think.
And another thing with the Eagles was that that doesn't get talked about, especially with the whole Saquon left the Giants thing, is if you gave me an entire offensive line of all pros and perennial Pro Bowlers and legitimate Pro Bowlers, not because, Joey Smith off the street has to go to, Cancun with his wife already. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always those weird fill-ins. Legitimate Pro Bowlers we're talking about on the Eagles offensive line. Usually, I don't know how it's going to be this year. I haven't looked, quite frankly. But their line is sick. Their line is sick. Obviously, you don't expect Saquon Barkley to just be running down everybody's throats every game the way he's been in the playoffs. But let's make no mistake here. that team top to bottom is very good, and they were underachieving to begin the season. So, yeah, I think the Commanders have nothing to, be upset about, despite not going to the Super Bowl. You want to be a little bummed you didn't make it there, but be appreciative of the journey that got you here in the first place. And if you're the Eagles, um, congratulations. You didn't get to have to play the Lions, and you're able to kind of cakewalk into the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All they had to do was stay away from the Lions, and they knew they were in. Good for them.
The Lions are also.
It seemed like you wanted to add something.
No, I definitely agree with you. Just looking at Zach Ertz's stats, you could make the argument he was the best tight end in the postseason. Goddard is definitely up there. I know he had a good championship game. I know Dallas Goddard was getting involved pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm.
But Zach Ertz, he had 11 receptions for 104 yards. It shows that he's still capable of playing in the league. He's kind of been back and forth with teams. He signed with Detroit last year before the playoffs. So so it's good to see that he's still around. So yeah, like you said, the Commanders should be not feel any shame the fact that they made it this far. It's pretty showing. Um, Eagles, like you said, the Eagles are just stacked from top to bottom. So they beat them once in the regular season, but Jalen Hurts obviously was knocked out with a concussion, but still a tight game. Still a tight game. So it's definitely it was close at first, and then I think the Eagles just ran away with it when they had the opportunity. Um, I think they had 7 rushing touchdowns. I think that was the most. I think that was tied for the most in the postseason, if I'm correct. I don't know if you want to look that up for me.
Oh, sure.
So just it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. And yeah, so credit to them, and congratulations to the Eagles for making it to the Super Bowl. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. The other game that came on was obviously the Chiefs Bills game. So I know everyone has a lot to say about that.
You're right, by the way.
Was it the most in the postseason?
It's tied for the most, but the Bears that beat the Washington 73-0. Washington guys, tighten up. What are the odds of that, huh?
Jalen Hurts, yet alone had 3.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all like legitimate. Well, 2 of them were legitimate. Tush push ones, they don't count. But
yeah,
they count on the scoreboard. Come on now.
I feel bad, but
especially when you're an inch away from the goal line. Give a line now.
That's true.
But
I feel bad for
legitimate.
But either way, congrats to the Commanders and the Eagles. You are heading to Super Bowl 59. That's gonna be very fun. It's gonna be interesting to watch. So now moving on to the AFC Championship game, the Bills versus the Chiefs. Obviously, the Chiefs ran away with it, 32-29. People could blame the refs all they want or whatever how they want to do. Either way, Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. That's just how it is, I know we can go over it a million times if we want about the refs and all that, but right now we're just going to analyze the game. That's how I'm just going to look at it. The only thing I will say though, that 4th down call, it definitely is little question marks about that. That definitely should have been a 1st down. I don't know where the refs. I think it was the first ref that came in from the side. It's very confusing, but
there was one angle where he was clearly in, and they didn't really show it too much, which I thought was kind of odd. And I'm not saying, the fix was on, but I'm just saying that, I wish that they showed that one again a few more times. It was the one that you saw Josh Allen from his back, and it looked to me like he was clearly in. But whatever.
Yeah, that's the only call I'm really going to question with this. Like I said, there's so many times
I disagree. I think a call that was even more egregious was that reception that got them a few yards from the touchdown. That should have been a dead ball.
Supposedly, if the ball doesn't move and the ball goes back into possession of the offensive player, supposedly the offensive player gets the tiebreaker. But I guess looking back at it,
The ball hit the ground.
The ball, but it didn't move.
It was a clean reception by two players, and it touched the ground. To me, fine. Lick your wounds. We'll replay the down. I just think that's in the interest of fairness. If
The
it's a
one thing I
situation
will
like
say-
that it wasn't completely clean to begin with.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about everything with the thing with the rigging and all that, I'll just say one thing. It's not, I'm not. I think the reason why people are upset about it is because, like, these so-called penalties and flags, they have huge outcomes of the game, and I understand. At the end of the day, like, hey, the Chiefs were the better team. They won. I get that, but some of the calls that are made are egregious, and they favor more the Chiefs side. So all I'm saying is that, like, a lot of these calls, like, determine the outcomes of the games. So that's why people are getting so upset about it, because there's been times when there's been plenty of calls, and the Chiefs don't get any calls, but yet there's million of penalty flags going on the field when something that's against the other team for the Chiefs. That's all I'm saying. And so there's a lot of people that are coming out and saying Troy Aikman, even during the game against the Texans, that unnecessary roughness, that two Texans players didn't even hit Mahomes. They collided into each other. But yet that was still a penalty. And it was 15 yards. So that's why but like I said, at the end of the day, like, the Chiefs, the Bills had an opportunity. Dalton Kincaid said otherwise. And, they're not in the Super Bowl. It's just how it happens.
I
But
think people are. I'll continue.
no, what are you gonna say? People what?
I think people are killing Kincaid way too much. That was not a gimme pass at all.
No, that was just
That was
thrown
a
in the
tough
air.
play.
Yeah.
That was a tough play. The Mark Andrews one from last week. Come on, that kind of was a gimme. But the Kincaid one, that was a tough play, dude.
Yeah, no, people flaming.
That was like a squib kick. You know what I mean? But you know what it is with the Chiefs that stands out to me about the ref thing? It's that the pendulum never swings the other way. That's what people hone in on. It never swings in the other way. And I know people are going to say, first half, look at the penalty yards. And at the end of the game, the penalty yards weren't that different. There's a difference between like minor holdings and stuff like that. And there's a difference between the plays that actually matter.
There's a play
And
where
to me, that's
yeah.
where it is. And I know you're about to say that there was clear holding on Chiefs offensive linemen every single play. And they never got
but
called.
they don't call it, no.
Now, I know it's like, Dennis, you're a Giants fan, the David Tyree catch, whatever. Listen, there is a point to me where like you can't call a holding. If it's like a 7-second play and there's a holding, I'm not calling it because clearly your guys are doing just fine without it, But if it's a play where it's like right off the line of scrimmage, I'm grabbing the guy from behind and holding him or whatever. Come on, you know what I'm saying?
It's definitely I remember, there was a play where Josh Allen literally pointed to where it was, I don't know if it was Matt Collins or Shakir. One of the receivers was getting hold, and he literally pointed out to the player, and the refs didn't do anything. So, like I said, it's just I don't feel like they're hiding it anymore, the refs. So, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discredit the Chiefs players. They're still a great, talented, favorable team. I just wish the refs they didn't have too much of a say in the game, in my opinion. So, and I'm gonna stand by that because, like I said, the reason why I get so not aggravated, but like it angers me, because like I said, and I'll say it again, these have huge detrimental impacts on the outcome of the game. So just make it fair, And like you said, there's plenty of times that like you said, like you said, Dennis. What are you gonna say? The what?
I said the pendulum has got to swing the other way.
Exactly. And so, like, it's just like, come on, like, last year in the championship game against the Ravens, Isaiah Likely in the end zone. was like triple teamed and held, and Lamar Jackson ball ended up getting intercepted. Where's the call there? You know, stuff like that, and especially that fourth down play. Like I don't know what the ref. There was another ref that came in was going to make it a first down, but then another ref came in and changed it.
And then they went
But
to review and it was still wrong.
it was huge because what did the Chiefs do? They ran right down the field and scored. That could have easily went the Bills' way. You know, so that's my take on it. So like I said,
Before we end this, though, I do have to say two things were obvious. The Bills' defense not good enough, and they need new coaching.
yeah,
They need new coaching. They just do. I don't know why they, at the end of that game, James Cook was on a milk carton. I don't know why they just stopped going to him. The Chiefs couldn't stop him. They couldn't stop James Cook all this week. They couldn't stop him. Unless I'm wrong, I'll pull up the stats, and so I'm not just talking out of my rear end here. But it seemed pretty, again, kind of like a hot knife through butter. And I was surprised they kind of went away from that. But how many times are you gonna, how many times are you gonna have a shot here? And I feel like every year at the Bills, we keep saying the same things. James Cook had 13 carries for 85 yards. That's pretty good. That's way above 5 yards per carry. And a longest of, what I like to do is he had a longest of 33. So it's really, was it 52 over 12? So a little less than 5, if we're being realistic here. Divided by 12. He had about 4.3 yards per carry, James Cook, with 2 touchdowns rushing. That's not bad at all. Again, I always take out a carry, the longest carry. And, just didn't go that way at all. One thing I will say, we were talking about tight ends earlier, and, I'm a big tight end guy because I'm a big kahuna myself. I kind of felt like they didn't really go to Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid enough, in my opinion. Whatever. Another thing, though, Josh Allen had 3 fumbles, apparently. 3 recoveries. Ray Davis also had a fumble and a recovery. How many times are you going to get, again, how many times are you going to get an opportunity here before something goes wrong? So as much as we can say things about referees or whatever, there's other parts that matter to it. Another thing, I don't know where their budget's going. You look at the wide receivers they have, Amari Cooper. They barely used him since they got him. Matt Collins had the most touchdowns for them in the regular season, had the best game for them this week. Khalil Shakir had a good game for them this week. If you're not getting like the big name players on offense or defense, then like what are you doing? You get what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of strange to me that like they're just not. I keep kind of feeling like they're getting these conference championships or these deep playoff runs or almost winning a big playoff game or whatever the case may be, and I keep feeling like they could still be better. Like I feel like there's still untapped potential there. And I've never really felt this way about any other team in any sport that I could remember. That it's like, what? Really? Like, where are you going to take that next step? And it's bizarre that the Bills aren't better. It's bizarre. Every year, it's like the same thing. The 13-second game, look how great Mahomes is. Mahomes is great, but at the same time, too, how many NFL defenses can hold off 13 seconds?
In this day and age.
Now, in that case, and being a little prickly, but in general, how many times are the Bills' defense just not going to come up when they need to? If you're Money's not going to the superstar position players. I don't know how much Josh Allen's making, but he's not the highest paid quarterback in the league. Not even close.
Yeah.
Is the offensive line getting that money? Like, where is it going to? And another thing I will say, because I always pointed out in the playoffs, special teams is what won the Chiefs this game. How many kick and punt returns did they have that just started off great? Great possession on some of these returns. In fact, I could give you the stats for them. Nico Ramaggio had 4 returns for a total of 107 yards, a longest of 33. So he really went 3 for, help me out here, 74. He had 1 punt return for 41 yards. So total, that's 5 for 148 yards. So most of the time, you're not taking it out of the end zone. You're already taking it at the 5 or 10-yard line now, right? So think about that. The position that you're giving an offense like the Chiefs to play with, to begin at, to begin. That didn't really come out like good English, but whatever. So, I mean, there are little things here that the Bills need to tighten up on. And again, it's like, I always kind of felt like they could have taken a next step and they just didn't. Obviously, I always get them confused. Who's it, Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers?
Yes.
Nailed it, 50%
John
chance.
is with the Ravens, yeah.
And, he's with the Chargers now, but I kind of thought that that's where he should have went. I don't like McDermott. I don't. And I think people are very overreactionary with coaching decisions. But at this point in time, you've kind of exhausted all options. You have to concede that it's just you need to improve somewhere. I don't know. That seems to me where it is. But now at this point, who are you going to take? McCarthy already took his name out of the coaching pool. There's no, indication that they're going to move on from him. So obviously, I'm just speaking hot air. It's just, I don't know, man. Is it me? Is it a me problem? That I feel like the Bills are still like this trove of untapped potential. And I'll be right back because I want to turn the overhead light on because it looks like I'm just the floating head from Power Rangers.
You're good. No, I don't think it's a you problem. I think it's definitely been talked about before in terms of whether the Bills should keep Sean McDermott as their head coach because, what's been going on. Like, sure, they've been winning the AFC East. They made it to the playoffs almost every year he's been a coach, except for 1 year, which was in 2018. And they just haven't been able to get over the hump, and that's been losing to the Chiefs most of the time. This is now their fourth time now. It's 2020, then in 21, then in 23, now this year. So that's 4 times now they haven't been able to get past the Chiefs, and they've been close games, except the first game, the first championship game, first playoff game. That's a championship game. That was a blowout. So they're able to beat them in the regular season. But when it comes to the playoffs, it's just a different animal. I don't know. I don't know. Me personally, I don't think they should move on from Sean McDermott. I think if you got something, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's how I look at it.
But it is broke.
In what way?
You just said it. You're 0-4 against the Chiefs. What hasn't changed? We know it's not Josh Allen. I mean, how many times is the guy going to be standing on his head trying to win these games?
It's true. Talent is there. I think it's crazy that they were able to do this without Stephon Diggs. No one talks about that.
Yeah, I think that's Collins, I think that's a credit to them. They have a lot of the 75 overall players for their position players. And sometimes if you have enough of those guys, that's better than having the 95 overall player, right?
Sure.
However, like again, it's just weird. And one thing's for certain. Why would you have traded the Xavier Worthy pick? I don't know.
Yeah, that's another thing. It it's crazy how big that trade was. People don't really talk about that. How big the trade. I mean, it's more talked about now. That definitely was one of the biggest alternating moves, trades more exactly, not just in the NFL history, but in sports. You can make the argument that was definitely. I remember when that trade happened. I remember watching it. I watched it unfold. I don't think anybody would have thought how big it was going to be for the Chiefs. It literally created a dynasty right in front of us. The Bills, it did the Bills a favor because they were able to use that pick that they had and use it to trade up for Josh Allen. So they basically set up everything for another, essentially all this decade's Manning versus Brady, where you have Mahomes versus Allen. And so, like I said, the the Bills didn't give away the dynasty to the Bills. I mean, to the Chiefs, but it didn't help them that they were able to get their franchise quarterback. And people questioned the trade at the time. They were like, Patrick Mahomes. People like scratching their heads like I'm doing right now. And people thought Alex Smith was still a good quarterback, but Chiefs said otherwise. They wanted to upgrade and get younger. And it definitely was one of the best moves they've ever made. But, credits. Hopefully the Bills look get back at it next year. They still got to. Just sucks because Josh Allen is crazy. He's entering his 8th year now. That's crazy. I remember when Josh Allen came into the league, so he's not getting any younger. But it's, when is that window still going to be open? I think Sean McDermott could definitely. I think he's. I don't know. It depends. They have a lot of patience in Buffalo. I'm glad they're not being cutthroat. Um, because like I said, I think he's still a good coach, and like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I know, like you said, just the one hump, just the Chiefs. It's the only thing that's stopping them. Or else they probably, it's like with Michael Jordan in the '90s. The Knicks would probably have more championships, but Michael Jordan always got in the way. Same thing with the Pacers. Um, but I think it's in terms of the Super Bowl now. The Eagles versus Kansas City. It's definitely going to be an interesting Super Bowl. I don't know how I really don't know how it's going to go. I want to say that the Eagles are going to dominate because, the way they manhandled the Commanders. Saquon Barkley's on a tear. I just feel like the Chiefs, you can't bet against them. I feel like they're going to find a way. Steve Spagnuolo and that defense, and especially with Andy Reid, they're gonna outcoach the heck out of the Eagles, and they're gonna find a way to take advantage of everything they got with their roster. They're gonna probably try to contain Saquon as much as they can, and then Patrick Mahomes is still gonna sling it like he does, because that's just the type of player. That's the elite player that he is. So my heart wants the Eagles, cause for Saquon, and just I'd rather have some over the Chiefs. But my head is telling me that the Chiefs are going to win it. They're going to three-peat, first ever three-peat in history, and so I don't know. That's just how I think it's going to go. Now, in terms of three-peat, it is pretty historical. It is pretty insane that we're able to say that we are able to see a three-peat. It's never happened in football. It's happened in hockey. It's happened in baseball. So, to
A
be
few
able to
times in
repeat,
baseball.
say it again.
It's happened that I could think of twice in baseball at least.
It's happened in basketball too. Yeah, it's happened with the Lakers.
Yeah,
Chicago did it
Bulls did it
twice.
twice.
Bulls did it twice. So it's
What was it? The 7 straight times the Celtics won it or something like that back in the 50s and 60s. No, not that much. 4 straight, if I'm not mistaken. Yankees won 5. Canadians won like 10 or something like that once.
oh wow. It's JJ from SNY. It's kind of random. He's a Dolphins fan. John Jasimski on SNY. He actually worked out with Tyreek Hill. Actually, it's pretty cool. And he's a Dolphins fan, so I think that's just pretty cool to watch. Do a little TV. Oh, he's definitely hyped up about that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting Super Bowl, and I'm excited for it. I'm
Yeah.
definitely still gonna watch it. People boycotting it, but
Oh, dude, if I didn't have these shows, I would not be interested in Super Bowl whatsoever. But real quick before we move on, just because I always feel like if I'm gonna sit here and whine and whine and whine about how bad the Bills are, then I have to at least provide a solution. And I do think I have a solution for them.
what's that?
Sign T Higgins. I earlier in this year I said that they should go after he should go to the Chargers, T Higgins, but you have options because if you don't bring him back, you could bring back you could acquire Chris Godwin, who's an unrestricted free agent. Both of them are below 30. Maybe you want to take a flyer on Hollywood Brown. He's not even 28 yet. Maybe you want to take him just because he's cheaper. Darius Slayton. You know, there's guys that you can maybe take a flyer on, but you have options there. Obviously, the wide receiver, the running back, seems like you're set with James Cook. I don't think he's a free agent. No. But there's guys there if you want to have a second back or something like that. Maybe you bring in an older Nick Chubb or AJ Dillon or Javante Williams or somebody. But there are options. Their cap doesn't seem too good, but the football cap, I don't know. I find it kind of confusing to follow. Because there's so many, acquisitions and stuff like that middle of the year that it's hard to keep up with.
Right.
But there's that. As far as the Super Bowl goes, dude, I don't know. On the one hand, I don't mind to see the Chiefs get the 3-peat because I do feel like they're well, obviously they're going to get to the playoffs regardless, but I do feel like the regular season marred with just so much paper champion stuff of so many times the refs bailed them out against the Bengals. The weird lucky break against the Ravens. Like so much of that crap. Like usually it's like, well, teams need those kinds of breaks. Everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. But on the other hand, is like I absolutely passionately loathe Nick Sirianni. If their head coach was like Dan Campbell, I'd root for them in a heartbeat. I don't care. It's like, whoa, even as a Giants fan? Yeah. What do I care? Giants don't pay me. So, because I want to see Saquon get a ring. But it's like the way, like I can't stand him so much. I can't stand him. And I hate that whole tush push crap so much. They really did break the game, and kudos to them. They broke the game. Good for them. This is how people felt when my Devils won using the neutral zone trap in the 90s. It existed before then, existed dating back to the 70s. They mastered it, especially Marty Brodeur coming out of the net. Fine. I get it. This is how people felt. I'm selfish, but come on. It's stupid. It's stupid. And real quick before we move on to other football stuff and non-football stuff, that whole charade against the Commanders at the 1 yard line of trying to get the Commanders off sides. You know who should have been awarded a touchdown on that? The Commanders. We all know what you're doing. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. I hate wasting my time. You have no idea how passionately I am about wasting my time. If I waste my time doing what I want to do, like watching 8 Law and Order reruns, I'm not mad. But if I'm wasting my time waiting online, waiting in traffic, having to watch like a 15-minute second down with the Eagles and Commanders because the Eagles just won't snap the effing ball. Come on, dude. Wrap it up. What are we doing here? Come on. We all know what you're running. It's not when he's going, trick play. He's going to throw it. Dude, you're at point blank range. Get on with it. Continue.
All right. But I well said, definitely well put. I think that puts a wrap on championship weekend.
Hold on. Oh, I guess we could talk about this next week when we do a deeper preview of the Super Bowl. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll save it for next week. Real quick, obviously, I don't know if we talked about it last week, but Aaron Glenn did get hired as the new Jets head coach. So Darren Muji, he came over from the Denver Broncos. I want to say it's a great hire. I'm excited. I'm not trying to get my hopes up as the usual Jet fan that I am. As you could tell. But I like the Aaron Glenn hire. I like the Darren Muji hire. I think it's a new, regime. I like that Woody Johnson actually took accountability for once as a Jets owner, saying I need to be better. Whether he's telling the truth or not, I still think I think it is because he said it publicly. You know, I like so far that like I said, I think Aaron Glenn is going to command a different culture, different leadership, and people saying this is similar to kind of what it was like at Robert Saleh 4 years ago. People saying it's like a carbon copy. I like to try to disagree. I think it's different. Aaron Glenn played for us. Woody Johnson's familiar with him. I think it's going to be different. Like I said, granted, Robert Saleh didn't have a great opportunity with the Jets, under the likes of Woody. Maybe things would have been different, but I like to think it's going to be different. And I like the coaching hire. I like it. So, and I like Darren Muji. They know how to work together. It's, no nepotism. So Darren Muji said in a press conference he actually interviewed Aaron Glenn way back when, maybe 4 years ago, or I think it was 2 years ago, when they were looking for a new guy after Sean Payton got fired. No, not Sean Payton got fired. Daniel Hackett got fired. So yeah, I like the hire. I'm excited to see what it brings, but we'll see. Less talk, more action. That's kind of my motto this year. Pro action, less talk. That's kind of how I've been trying to go about this year. So I hope the Jets are going to be. I like the Pete Carroll move. I don't know if you saw Dennis. Pete Carroll got hired to the Raiders.
Establishes a culture.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely going to open up opportunity for Russell Wilson to join them.
No. That's moving in the wrong direction.
That's moving. Okay, you're
moving in the wrong direction.
It's going to happen though. It's definitely going to happen.
Why would it happen? Why would it happen? We want a fresh start. We want a new culture and everything like that. Oh yeah, so it kind of deteriorated at the end of the Seahawks thing. Why don't we bring that here? Why? Why does that make sense? It doesn't. And real quick about the Jets, you like that Muji hire, huh? I know nothing about him, but after that Russell Wilson trade, I don't know if I want somebody from the Denver front office.
That's true. Well, I mean,
they lost on everything in that. They lost on the picks. I would say a 1-for-1 of Russell Wilson for Noah Fant is fair now. I mean,
that's true. Hey,
that would have me a little concerned, but in terms of drafting, who knows? The Broncos seem to have done well with the limited resources after he traded the picks.
Like I said, we'll see.
But no, if they bring in Russell Wilson, come on, dude, not for nothing. But so Russell Wilson had 4 really good games against crappy teams this year for the Steelers. Oh, watch out! And then against the good teams, he was borderline unplayable. Who's he throwing to? Some of the Raiders position players, bro, I saw them bagging my groceries. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. You know what I'm saying? They need a complete overhaul. If anything, they should take a flyer on a young guy. Like, what's his name? Help me out. Justin Fields.
They could.
Or Trey Lance. Guys,
I'd rather go
because if I would rather have a stop. Yeah, but if I'm going to have a stopgap guy, I'd rather have someone with upside. I'd rather have someone with upside. Now, I know it's like, well, you want to bring an adult into the room or whatever like that. That's fine. If his immaturity didn't get him right out of Seattle and out of Denver, but that's okay. Him and wanting his own office and separating himself from the team. On the one hand, I could see how being in Pittsburgh humbled him. On the other hand, then why wouldn't he want to leave Pittsburgh in the first place? Do you want to, if you're going to get into a bidding war for him just to be a top 20 quarterback in the league, what are you doing? Fresh start. Completely fresh start. Pete Carroll, his coaching staff, whatever he wants to bring in or whatever, but Focus on changing the culture. You're in the AFC West. You're not winning that division. Stop. Get rid of the win now mentality. In fact, I don't know if he wants to be a career Raider or not, but consider getting off of Max Crosby. Sell everything. Complete restart. Pete Carroll, reestablish a culture. And then eventually, because this always happens, the guys brought in to do that, the tank commanders are always let go for a win now kind of a coach. Bring him in to be your tank commander. Let him go. Maybe he'll have an advisory consultant role in his twilight years. Good for him. God bless Pete Carroll. Good for you. Hip, hip, hooray.
Yep.
Done. Job well done. Right off into the sunset with the newly minted Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders. New culture under the Brady regime. Don't do this. Don't go to freaking Russell Wilson. Come on, man.
We'll
And I'm
see.
not picking on you. I'm not trying to pick on you. I just keep seeing people talk about it online. Don't do that. That's such a bad idea. That's a horrible idea. Come on.
But we'll see.
You know what it is to me? It's like when the Knicks brought in Phil Jackson and offered him so much money when he didn't want to be the Knicks head coach. And they offered him so much money that he had to say yes. And Monty Williams, the same thing with the Pistons. And it's like, hey, why did this go wrong? I have a couple of reasons I could think of, But I'm sure Russell Wilson's a great guy.
But we'll see, though. I agree. Let's
I like the
Next.
Seahawks a lot. When I was in middle school, I had sneakers that were Seahawks colors. Continue.
Yeah, no, I think everything was definitely well said. I like the hire because I think it's different from all the other hires that they've had. The Raiders have always had like scrub coaches that have not really have known what to do or what they are doing. I think it's a great legit hire. It's definitely not a Mark Davis hire. It's a Tom Brady hire. So, good for them. And Tom Brady's really taken a huge role in that, being with the Raiders. So, good for him. Kellen Moore is looking like he's going to take the Saints job. That's going to be fun to watch. That's going to be fun to see. Mike McCarthy obviously took his name out of the Saints job because he wants to take a year off. He did the same thing in 2019, then came back in 2020 with the Cowboys. So, obviously, Liam Cohn, he said he wasn't gonna take the Jacksonville job. He was gonna stay and take the highest paid job as coordinator for the Bucks. Then he did a 180 and literally ended up going to Duval.
It was after the Jaguars took my advice. They don't need to pay me. It's fine. And got rid of their GM. Apparently, all their coaching, the guys they interviewed, I heard Tom Pelissero talk about it on the Rich Eisen show. All the guys they were bringing in kept having questions about the GM. They didn't like the GM.
We both said it. We both said it on here. Like, I don't know what we both said. Like, it was stupid for them to fire Doug Peterson and keep Trent Baalke. We both said it. What was the move behind it? It's definitely very interesting. So I guess that was the ultimate decision. That's what got them the job. It's like that's what got them a good coach. I don't know how Liam Cohn's going to be. Hopefully he can fix Trevor Lawrence, or as some would say, fix that franchise. But I don't know. We'll see. I feel like the Jaguars definitely got a lot to work with, but we'll see what Liam Cohn could cook. But yeah, it's a good hire. I feel like we talked enough about the NFL. I want to try to get into the NBA quick before we wrap up for tonight. I know Adam Silver talked about, changing from 40 minutes in a game compared to the 48 minutes. So it would be 10 minutes a quarter. I don't know if you saw that. What are your thoughts on that?
Nobody loves unnecessary changes more than the NBA. That's my thought on it. No, don't do that. If you want to have, what they should do is, so internationally, that's the way it is. But what they should do is keep it the same length of time and just cut out all the filler. If you watch at the international tournaments at the Olympics and stuff like that, they don't call as many fouls. They don't call the ticky-tack nonsense. It's a different kind of game. It's a much faster paced game. And I know it's like, well, for 48 minutes, like that's kind of harder to do. But it's like, yeah. But it's like I don't know. It's like when you're watching a movie and it's like a good movie that like I'm trying to formulate it.
No, you good. Yeah, you're good. Don't worry.
Listen,
I'll let you cook.
we're not this one's not coming out good. This one, no, we're dumping it.
No,
Gordon Ramsay, if he saw me cook this, he would not be happy.
he would not be happy.
He would
He would definitely be
berate
cutting
me.
you out right now.
Yeah, certainly. Listen, basically I was going to try to throw together was something about, movies and the difference between movies and TV shows. You know what I'm saying? All right, a movie is longer. That doesn't mean a movie is worse. Doesn't mean like movies have to be the same length as a TV show or a like a TV show episode. No. It could both be separate, but you can make it more exciting in other ways, adding more action to it. What I don't like is the foul fest to NBA games. How do we stop that? How do we stop the last minute of regulation taking 25 minutes of real time? I was so happy that the Suns blew out the Nets that I didn't have to sit through that crap. So happy. It was a good game. I don't know if we talked about it on here. I had a good time. The popcorn, the popcorn was good. The water was very overpriced. $9 for a bottle of water. Wasn't even a big bottle of water.
Yeah.
Salty.
I'm glad you had a good
Tighten
time.
up,
I'm sorry I couldn't come at you on that, but I'm glad you had a good time.
No need to be sorry, Brandon. Had a splendid time.
I still.
That being said, the NBA loves unnecessary changes that nobody asked for. I don't care. I don't care about it being shorter in that regard. Give me less stupid fouls. You want to hear the other thing? You know who else would like it to stay 48 minutes and do it my way of making it just faster paced in general? The players. Because if we have 40 minutes, why do I need so many players on my team? The guys are never going to play. So I can't see that being introduced. Players union, I could see having a hard time with it. Another thing is, where is all your advertising money going to come from? Not going to happen. Shouldn't happen. That's my take.
Yeah, great take. Well said.
Not well.
I definitely agree.
It was a mess.
No, don't worry. But that's why they got editing. I'll see what I can cook on that. I definitely think it's definitely unnecessary. Trust me, baseball has done it. The NFL has done it. I don't see the point of. I don't really get the understanding of 40. I feel like 12 minutes is perfect for a quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's a custom. It's like you don't break tradition. Like, why would you change it? Like something like that. Like, I just think it's definitely unnecessary. Just uncalled for. I don't know who came up with that idea. I feel like someone definitely pitched that to Adam Silver, and they're giving him the credit for it. So I think it's stupid with the shorter periods, and hopefully they don't do it. Another thing that's crazy, I feel like it's going to be the last thing we talk about for a wrap up. De'Aaron Fox might get traded now. He came out and said that he denied the rumors, saying that he wanted to get traded. He's saying that the Kings want to trade him, saying, "No, you would know if I did. That's their decision to make." So what do you make on that?
I have no idea what's happened with the Kings over the last couple of years. They had such a good roster on paper a couple of years ago when they made the playoffs. And since they're like this, they're literally the Seattle Mariners. Why can't you guys just stay good? Both teams, they're so horrible for so long. So unwatchable for so long. So embarrassing for so long. And then they finally make the playoffs and just immediately it's like, oh, we suck again. Sorry. Yeah. You know who thought going into this season, you know who thought their roster was just horrible and they were going to have a bad season? Everybody. This isn't like a Dennis take. Oh, he was right all along. No. No, I'm not even going to co-sign my name to it. A team that has nobody on the team that could shoot 3-pointers at a high rate. Huh. In today's day and age, Brandon, you think that works? I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. I don't know if you have any opinion. Do you have an opinion? I'll get the second opinion. Do you think that's going to work? Team that can't shoot threes in the modern age? No, right. I'll answer for you. No, obviously not. So bringing in DeMar DeRozan did what for you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Known can't shoot threes guy. Poster boy for can't shoot threes in the modern game. Why? Why? There are many things I can't do better than a professional sports team front office, but there are some front offices that I do think I would be better at running. Kings is definitely one of them.
I can see it. You should
Definitely
go.
one of them.
You should go knock on the door right now.
Talking about it with my friends when I was at the Nets game. All the weird Suns things I've just been right about over the years. Like I got flamed on Reddit. Remember when I was covering the Suns that year?
Yes.
Well, I pitched like a mock trade and people were flaming me for it. And that mock trade I picked, you would universally take now. Universally. It was such a great trade for the Suns. But it got mocked. Yeah. Know what I'm talking about. It would have been keep in mind this was a few years ago, not before betting scandals. All right. It would have been Scary Terry Rozier, in the news for a betting scandal. Whoops. You know, dude,
Yeah.
be better. Hopefully it's not true. And Mason Plumlee for DeAndre Ayton and draft picks, and Ayton would have gone to the Hornets. And everybody's like, this is so bad or whatever. It's like, so bad. Mason Plumlee's better in half the price. He's better at every single statistic. He's a better rebounder. We need rebounding. We already have Kevin Durant. What do I need more scoring for? And then Terry Rozier would have been the sixth man. You would have gotten the draft picks. It would have been great. It could have given you the draft capital you would have recuperated after losing all those picks to the Nets. Don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything. So, yeah. When I saw the Kings coming into the season, it's like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And, yeah. Yeah, I don't even know who they can take. They're a team who they should, who they should try to get. They should try to get Cam Johnson from the Nets. Ah, that's a great spot. Good 3-point shooter. Solid defender, but not great. He was better on Phoenix. I don't know what happened there. He did have some injuries since leaving us. That's a good spot for Cam Johnson. That's a good spot, a good player for them to have. As the Nets are trying to rebuild, clearly, maybe you send DeMar DeRozan with some picks, offload that contract for Cam Johnson. I don't know if the salary works for Cam Johnson. Now with Cam Thomas and DeMar DeRozan on the Nets, you have something that people can go to and see. It'll at least be exciting and sell some shirts and jerseys for you. Next year or in the offseason, you trade DeMar DeRozan.
There you go.
And flip him if you're the Nets. Done. Done deal. You also have a lot of cap if you're the Kings, because you offload that contract for DeMar DeRozan, you can make other moves. De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis could work. You just got to put the right pieces around them. And those are the kind of tier players you got to look for. Like we said, with the Bills wide receivers. If you have a lot of 75 or 80 overall players, that could be worth more than the superstars. Dennis, where are you getting this from? Look at the Knicks. All right, Carl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. I'll give you. They're top shelf players. Yep. The Josh Harts. How much is he making? You know, guys like that. The guys on the edges. Last year when they had Isaiah Hartenstein. That's what the Kings need. So I could see De'Aaron Fox not wanting to leave Sacramento because he's the best player on a good team when they're going well. Doing well. You know, it's just, I hate seeing potential get wasted.
I think that wraps it up for tonight.
I think it does too, Brandon.
Thank you, everybody, for joining Sports Shack. Again, follow us on our page. Like and subscribe to this video. And subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow _Sports Shack on Instagram. I'm Brandon Talley, along with Dennis Tui. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.